These indriyas, karmendriyas go on functioning, what happens is the following. It is making the body act, and the body's action in turn has a reaction on this. What is that reaction? You take an example. There is a fan which is rotating, and the rotation is being done by the motor inside. As the motor rotates the fan has a reaction on the motor, and that expresses itself in the form of heat. It becomes hot. So, action and reaction are equal and opposite. You know that. Therefore, whatever action that is performed by this will have a reaction on themselves. All these reactions will be piling up. Nothing is lost. They will all be piling up. At the time of death, what happens is, these karmendriyas, whatever reaction they have been created on them, a part of it, not fully, a part of it comes into operation at the moment of death. What happens is, till now the walk was active, like working like this. Then with a part of the reaction, it gets a certain shape, and it gets frozen in that. That is, in other words, a part of all the reactions, they will be contained potentially, frozen. Okay. This is called, in Vedic Upanishadic terminology, it is called Vagvritti. It's called Vagvritti. That's that particular shape. Okay. And what happens is, this Vagvritti, it has come to a stop. Then it enters into the manas, the mind. Okay. Now the mind is active. We can easily recognize a person's death. Okay. Because though motor organs have come to a stop, mind will be working. Okay. And sense indriyas will be working. Now, when the Vagvritti stops, there will be defecation and all that, and finally it has stopped. Manas is functioning. Now is the turn of this moment, Manas. Remember, Manas has 4 aspects, and also the 5 sense jnanendriyas. All of them together I have called it as Manas. So what happens is, this is functioning, but there have been lots of reaction on that, and takes a part of that reaction and gets frozen. Okay. So virtually what happens is, Vagvritti is at the center, and over it there is the manovritti. Okay. Now this enters into, and the food for the mind and the jnanendriyas is the following. The solid food that we take, okay, that gets digested, and when it gets digested, it splits into 3 parts. The crudest part goes out as fecus, and the middle part goes to the mamsa, flesh, and the subtlest part goes for the working of the mind and the jnanendriyas. Okay. Now next, when this mind has got frozen, it enters into the respiratory system. Now see here. The respiratory system, to my knowledge, in allopathy it consists of only 4. Okay. And there is breathing out, prana, breathing in, apana, holding on the breath, that is vyana, and digestion, distribution, that's called samana. But the Shastra tells about the 5th aspect of prana also. That allopathy does not know. But from lots of discussions with doctors, I have come to know one thing. You could recognize if you are a little alert. Namely, what exactly happens, what exactly is the role of the prana, the respiratory system? It's actually supplying oxygen. Okay. Now, when it is supplying oxygen, don't restrict the word only to supply. Say that it is control. The control of the supply. What happens is, during deep sleep, actually the supply of oxygen is cut short. Therefore, the mind stops working in deep sleep. Okay. Therefore, if the respiratory system is supplying oxygen, a desupply is also respiratory system only. You have to include it only in that. Therefore, that is called Udana Vayu. Okay. Therefore, it is better you start looking into these things. Namely, that there is a fifth aspect of the respiratory system. That's called Udana Vayu. Okay. Now further, what is the food for Udana? What is the food for prana? This five prana. That's all the liquids we take. Okay. The liquids get digested. What happens is, it splits into three parts. The crudest part goes as urine, and the middle part goes to blood, and the subtlest part goes to the prana. That's its food. Now, the prana is functioning. Inside most, there is Vagvritti, above there is Manovritti, and above the prana respiratory system is functioning. What happens is, it takes up a part of the reaction accumulated, and then it gets frozen. That's called Manovritti. Okay. Now, after Manovritti is formed, then the respiratory system is coming to a close. Okay. Now here comes a question. What exactly, when does the Pranavritti gets formed? Now, I have had discussions with various people. I'm surprised to say that people want to define death. It looks very strange to me, such a question. But anyway, it is there. Okay. Or say, for instance, Americans, they say, the brain death is death. Okay. But in Europe, they don't believe it. In other European countries, at least in Germany, I know that death is defined by the stopping of the heart. Okay. So I had a discussion. Then I came to know that there is a very nefarious design between this definition in US. That is business. Suppose you have understood me. I don't want to dilate upon that. It's criminal. Therefore, sometimes I say, it's got what do you say? You take an oath in the name of Hippocrates. I told you take an oath. What the oath you take is hypocritical, not Hippocrates. Therefore, here, what has happened is, Pranavritti, when it has stopped, why does it stop? Actually, it happens in the heart. Okay. Ultimately, this stoppage of whatever you call is life, the whole process, is at the heart. Okay. Now, remember, when this is completed, what happens next is the following. This entire, These three parts, Vaggurti, upar Manovritti, uske upar Pranavritti, this takes the heat of the body. It covers itself with the heat of the body and emerges out from any of the 9 orifices in the body. Okay. Now, when it leaves, the big question is the following. Did the person die because the body died, or the body died because he left? That's the question. It's a very important question. That is, the body died, therefore it has left all these vrittis. Or it has left, therefore the body died. According to Shastra, it has left, therefore the body has died. Okay. This you can see from plants. For instance, if you take a tree and cut a branch of it, damage one branch of it, then the tree inside, the respiratory system, will try to accommodate. That is, will try to live there. But when it is totally useless, it withdraws. When it has withdrawn, it dries up. Then you cut something more. Then after it is withdrawn, it will die. In other words, when the body becomes useless, the jiva withdraws. And withdrawal, it is dead. The system is dead. Okay. Now, this, according to the Shastra, when it should die, you will come to know when I complete this process. Okay. Now, the body, this Vaggurti, Manovritti, Pranavritti, covering itself with this heat of the body, leaves the body, I told, and then it goes to heaven, hell, etc. Now, I will make this issue rather simple or not discussed much, because it comes under a different argument altogether, and as doctors we will be conversant more with practical problems. Okay. Now, wherever it goes, and afterwards it has to come back. Okay. How does it come back? It comes back through the rains. Okay. Now, of course, I have to be enlightened by you. I am only telling sort of a newspaper report. People, a few months ago, I think about 6-8 months ago, have noticed RNA DNA molecules in the upper atmosphere. Okay. And they are telling that these molecules have been they have flown from here, from the earth to there. Because of chaotic air movements and all that, it has gone there, they say. But Shastra disagrees. Actually, RNA DNA molecules are formed there. They are formed there. Because I told you, this Vaggurti, Manovritti, Pranavritti, which is actually a potential, it's a certain potential. This potential enters in those raindrops, and when it starts functioning, then RNA DNA molecules are formed. Okay. Afterwards, that enters here. That enters into, it falls on the earth and enters into food grains. Okay. Now, after entering food grains, now comes the role of God. Now, remember, that particular jiva with this Vaggurti, Manovritti, Pranavritti has to take birth, for which he has to choose a specific father and mother. Now the question is, whenever there is a transfusion or something like that, every time you need a matching. Therefore, here also, these DNA molecules, if they have to just they take their birth and start action, it needs a matching. Therefore, there must be an appropriate father. Okay, that appropriate father has to come and eat this. Yeah. And of course, suppose he does not eat, he is not ready, some other animal eats. Okay, when it eats, what happens is the food gets digested, and this jiva who is there with Vagvurti, Manorti, Pranavurti, it gets out of its fecus and once again mingles in food grains. Therefore, the shunting goes on for quite a long time. And after some time, when the appropriate person has come, he consumes this food. When he consumes this food, the food is digested. He does not go out of fecus. He enters into his guts. Okay. Then from there, he enters into the mother's womb. Okay. There, it starts growing like crystallization. Now, notice this remarkable reciprocity. What happens is, I think at the 16th week or something like that, you must be able to tell me, the respiratory system starts functioning, the first one. And after about, I think, something like 20 weeks, 18 weeks or something like that, the mind starts functioning. And as long as the baby is in the womb, the motor organs, very little activity is there. Okay. And now, whatever liquid it goes on consuming, coming out of the urinary bladder and all that, this is not a part of in the system. We need not include it under this motor organ system. Okay. Actually, the Vagvurti starts functioning only after the baby comes out. Okay. Now see the reciprocity? The process of death. First stop Vak, and then Man, and then Prana. Now while taking birth, first Prana started functioning, then the Man, and then the motor organs. There is a perfect reciprocity. This is actually the way. For instance, while you leave the house to come to the hospital, you wear the socks, and then the shoes, and then the lace. Okay. And when you go back, you remove the lace, then the shoes, and then the socks. It's as simple as that. Okay. Therefore, there is a total reciprocity. This itself clearly shows it's a sort of a real mirror image. Goes from there to here. This goes on and on and on and on. Okay. Now further, I just want to tell one more point. This very briefly. Shastra tells, you take about the left brain and the right brain. Okay. Now Shastra tells very clearly that it talks of Ardhanarishvara. The Upanishads is also called Dakshinakshi Purusha, Vamakshi Purusha. That is, this soul as a whole, on the right side is the male part, and the left side is the female part. Okay. And now, Roger Sperry, I think his work, left brain, right brain work. Okay. But to him, of course, both in man and woman, both parts are functioning, but he has established firmly that the left part is more predominant in the case of women, and the right part is more predominant in the case of men. Okay? And this is just all transactional work here, and the subtler work here. Okay? Now, this is there in the Shastras and the Upanishads. Okay. Now, there's exactly the discovery in here. Therefore, Shastra knows full well that it is not only the outer structure of the body which is different in man and woman, but actually internally also there are fundamental differences. Okay. This Shastra recognizes, and therefore it advises, it stipulates a particular type of life pattern for the woman and another particular life pattern for the man. Okay. And it is only when working according to these stipulations, if one continues, then the whole life will be happy. Now here also, it gives more and more details about all these karmendriya, jnanendriya, etc. And it takes what proper food is that, what is the proper food, what should be taken, what should not be taken, how much to be taken, everything is there. Okay. Now, with this, what shall I say, the practical aspects of birth and death I have shown you. Practical aspects. Now, when he comes back to life once again, remember what's happening. Each person is different. Nobody is like anybody else. Including the smell of the aspect. So different. Okay. Now, this difference is because of, you go back, you say RNA, DNA, all these things, genes, whatever it is. That's all right. That's not being denied. But the reason for that is that the Vagurti, Manovurti, Pranavurti are different. That is the reason. In fact, it is this Vagurti, Manovurti, Pranavurti which give a formation for the DNA. Okay. And whatever you have the vrittis now, this actually specifies the prarabdha of the person. What is prarabdha? Prarabdha is granting that you don't do anything. Suppose you keep quiet. Whatever happens is prarabdha. Whatever happens is prarabdha. That is, all this action is simply epitomized in these three vrittis. It's epitomized. It is just like this. You have an alarm timepiece. You keep it to ring at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then when it's 5, it goes on ringing. How long does it ring? As much as you have given the key. Similarly, this Vagurti, Manovurti, Pranavurti determine all aspects of life. All aspects of life. In fact, you see, take the spectrum of Pranavurti. One is a man, another woman, another eunuch. Some are hefty, some are slim, some are healthy, some are not healthy. These things. And take the mind, for instance. One is schizophrenic, other is dull-headed, other is normal, another is intelligent, yet another is a big yogi. Take, for instance, Vagurti. One is dumb, one stammers, okay? And one is normal, one speaks very nicely, another is silent. Therefore, these vrittis actually span this entire spectrum. And this is called prarabdha. The moment the prarabdha is over, the body is dead. It cannot be revived. There is no question of... like in prarabdha can be set right by action. Because prarabdha itself is the result of action. It's the result of action. Therefore, it can be counteracted and also corrected by action. Okay. Therefore, if one is a little careful, for some reason, if something has happened and he is nearing the death, at that time, sort of resuscitating, is it all right, that word? You can resuscitate person by various methods, as you have told. Okay, this could be several things. Therefore, in this way, I have tried to show you the process of life and death. And now, whatever questions you want to ask, you can ask. Don't expect reply for all the questions.